Hello, and welcome to another video on my channel. My name is Caitlin, and today we're going to talk about 2025 Korean dramas. These are the best, in my opinion, action thriller Korean dramas of 2025, and there are two caveats to this. One, if your favorites are not on this list, it probably means I did not watch it, and there's so many reasons why I might have not done that. You can go back to previous videos, specifically my resolutions for 2026 video. Long story short, I was not in a good space mentally in 2025, so I did not get to a bunch of dramas that I wanted to in 2025. So if some of your favorites are not on my list, please write them in the comments. Let me know what ones I missed. I know there were a lot I missed, especially because action and thriller are my favorites, but these are the favorites I watched. Two, they are in no particular order except for the last two dramas I'm going to talk about because I'm going from bottom to top. So the last two dramas I'm going to talk about are my number one, number two dramas of 2025, and they could have been number one and number two or vice versa. They are basically tied for number one K-dramas of the year for me. Anyway, these are my favorites and what I consider the best action thriller K-dramas of 2025. If you like this sort of thing, please comment your favorites in the comments and or subscribe, like this video, so on and so forth. I talk about all different types of dramas, and I have a lot planned for 2026, hopefully. Fingers crossed. The first Korean drama I'm going to talk about is the Korean drama Good Boy. I don't think a lot of people watch this. I did. One, because it was one of my most anticipated Korean dramas of 2025. And two, I like the concept. It was a crime drama. It was an action thriller drama. I thought it was going to be a comedic action thriller drama, and in some ways it was. But man, it undersold its other best parts of this drama for sure in all the trailers and everything. I consider this underrated for 2025 because, again, a lot of people did not watch it. A lot of people were not talking about it, especially while I was. If you did watch Good Boy, please let me know in the comments because I don't have a lot of people to talk about this drama with. I liked this drama a lot more than I thought I would because I went in thinking this is going to be a comedic crime drama. I'm going to laugh. I might not like the comedy. I might like the comedies because comedy sometimes works for me and sometimes doesn't. And I will say some parts of this Korean drama are hilarious and the comedy definitely works for me and my humor. But what I was not anticipating was how much trauma was in this drama. As you say, K-trauma. It was trauma galore. I mean, many of the main characters had trauma, mostly due to the athletics that they were in or had done in the Olympics and now were using in their police force jobs. And so as the trauma was revealed, especially Park Bo-gum's character, you watch these characters work through those traumas, but also support each other working through their traumas. If you don't know what Good Boy is, it is basically about a group of people who used to be Korean Olympic athletes in various disciplines, and the police decide to make a special police force to recruit these athletes to become police officers. Park Bo-gum was a boxer, and then you have Lee Sang-hee, who was a fencer, and then you have the female lead who was a shooter, and then you have another person who was a disc thrower in track and field, and then you have another person who was a wrestler. So all of them using their athletic abilities in their job. And they're fighting various criminals and things like that. But I was not anticipating the trauma. I really was not. Park Bo-gum especially, his character has a lot of trauma. And his acting was superb with this role. Villain, I loved the villain. The villain was one of the best villains I watched in 2025. He was scary. He was ruthless. He was everything you love in a villain. Also, some of the support villains were really nice because they had their own story and their own potential romance, and you got attached to them even if they were support villains. I wish some of the episodes were trimmed down. I think this was 16 episodes. Could have been 14 episodes because it had some fluff in it. The trauma of all the characters were not resolved how I 100% wanted it to be. Also, could have a season 2 if they really wanted it to, but it doesn't end on a cliffhanger or anything. I love found family. That is my trope, especially because I watch a lot of crime dramas. This had a lot of found family. The cop unit had a lot of found family. The villains had found family, which was surprising and kind of heartwarming at the same time. And let me tell you, these characters needed found family because the amount of trauma that they were dealing with was insane. And lastly, what I'll say about Good Boy is Lee Sang-hee. I've seen him in dramas before. I've seen him in multiple support roles before. He did something for me in this drama. If you are a Lee Sang-hee fan, you need to watch this drama. He was a fencer and he wore tight t-shirts the entire time, and he was just magnificent to watch in this drama. That is my first action thriller Korean drama of 2025, and I rated it a 9 out of 10. Next Korean drama I'm going to mention is Mercy for None. This is 7 episodes, and you can watch it on Netflix. This K-drama is not for everybody. It is trigger warnings everywhere. You got trigger warnings for violence and gore and swear words and everything. It's a dark action thriller Korean drama. If you do not know what this is, it's Soji Sub. He's the main character. His brother ends up being killed by the gangs that he used to work for himself, and he decides to figure out what happened with his brother and who ultimately killed him. And he infiltrates all these different gangs and basically punches a lot of people and hurts a lot of people to figure out what happened to his brother. There's a lot of violence in this. There's a lot of gore in this. It is unapologetically a straightforward revenge plot, and that's one of the reasons why I like it so much. You don't have a lot of depth in the story. It is Soji Sub getting revenge on the people who harmed his brother, but also beating up a lot of people trying to figure out who did it in the first place. Sometimes you just want to watch somebody beat people up. Is that just me? Maybe it's just me. It has fantastic fight choreo. The camera work also was really interesting in this drama because they tried new things to shoot the fight scenes. For example, Soji Sub flipping somebody over, the camera would follow the flip, so it would turn with the person who was being flipped. I thought that was really unique and stood out. And so if you are somebody like me who loves cinematography and camera work, this might be a good drama for you to check out if you can handle the violence and gore of it. Because being a Netflix drama, you see a lot of stuff. You see bones breaking, you see punches, you see blood going everywhere. It is intense. It's not a perfect drama, of course. Some of the things at the end disappointed me a bit, especially with the outcome of some of the characters, but overall, I really enjoyed this. Soji Sub was perfect for the role and stood out a lot. I'm glad I saw him again on my screen in 2025, and I'm excited for his new drama in 2026. If you are like me and love crime and thriller dramas, don't miss this one, especially if you can handle the violence. Also, huge shout out to Chu Young-woo and Gong Myung. They played villains in this drama, and I thought they pulled that off very well. I rated Mercy for None a 9 out of 10, and you can watch that on Netflix. I'm going to name 3 more Korean dramas. Karma is the third drama I'm going to talk about. 6 episodes. Netflix. I think this is also an underrated Korean drama of 2025 because I also did not see a lot of people check this out. I honestly think a lot of people did not check it out because if you watched the trailer, you knew it was going to be dark. You knew it was going to be violent. You knew being a Netflix drama, you were going to see a lot of it on screen. And the trailer wasn't lying. It is dark. It is gory. It is violent. Perfect drama for me because I watch those types of dramas. But like Mercy for None, it might not be for you. In my opinion, you are really missing out on an amazing drama if you don't watch Karma. It is a masterclass in writing. The twists and connections of this blew my mind and were insane. It's about a group of people who are connected to one incident. And as you move through the drama, you understand how they're connected to this one incident, what happens to them because of the incident, and how karma, the title, comes into play eventually. Every episode you are introduced to a new character, you learn their backstory, you learn about their involvement in this incident, what happens to them after the incident, And then in the end episode 6, they all come together and you see the finale of them. It is a masterclass in writing in terms of connecting everything by the end of the drama, keeping you guessing, being unpredictable. I just was blown away watching Karma, especially with the writing. The ending is very satisfying. I will say, you will hate everybody in this drama. No one is likable, which I found interesting because you don't like anybody, you found yourself rooting for them anyway. And then you had to think, wait, this person is a despicable human being. Why am I rooting for them? And then they meet their karma at the end, and you're like, man, that was so satisfying. But also, how was I rooting for this person for 5 episodes? It is a weird thing to feel, but that is also why it's a masterclass in writing. I loved Karma so much. I'm sad a lot of people did not check this out, but it's understandable why. Because watching the trailer, you knew what you were getting. It was dark, gory, violent, despicable characters. But man, if you want a good written Korean drama, please watch Karma. Please watch our Karma. You will not be disappointed if you check this Korean drama out. That was Karma. I rated it a 9.5 out of 10, and you can watch it on Netflix. Now we are down to the last 2 dramas, specifically my number 1, number 2 of 2025 action thriller Korean dramas. You can interchange these. These are basically tied for spot number 1. First one I'm going to talk about, and I'm sure a lot of people, this is on their favorites list, Trauma Code. Long title, Trauma Code Heroes on Call. You can watch it on Netflix. It is 8 episodes long. Love this drama. I rated this a 10 out of 10. It is a perfect drama for me. There's nothing I disliked about it. I'm so glad we're getting a season 2 and season 3. I cannot wait to revisit the cast and the story, and this is a perfect binge if you want to binge something on the weekend. I cannot believe, and I've said this before, I cannot believe I almost did not watch Trauma Code because I usually do not check out medical dramas. For some reason, with the amount of years I've been watching Korean dramas, I have never really found a medical Korean drama I really have liked. I have learned I'm just not going to watch them. And something with Trauma Code, I think it being more of an action and thriller medical drama caught my eye. So I decided to check it out. And I am so glad I did because it is now one of my favorite 2025 Korean dramas. I loved the found family. As I said, it's one of my favorite tropes. You got action balanced well with comedy. You care about the characters and the cases. You have a lot of great character growth from the beginning to the end. Joo Ji-hoon was amazing in this drama. He was a delight to watch. I loved how arrogant he was, but also lovable at the same time, which is hard to pull off. I thought the cast did quite well. The chemistry was great. Yes, it was a little bit unrealistic, but that was also part of the fun. I also loved learning that this was actually based off of a real life surgeon in Korea, and I liked looking into that and researching that. I will say there is a trigger warning for this because of the surgery scenes. You do see stuff during the surgery scenes, so if that's something you can't handle, just FYI. I highly recommend this one. I don't dislike anything about this drama, and I had so much fun watching it, and I'm so glad we're getting more seasons. That was the Trauma Code, rated a 10 out of 10. And last but certainly not least, my number 1 of 2025 for action thriller Korean dramas, that is Study Group. 10 episodes, you can watch it on Viki. I rated this a 10 out of 10. As I said, you can interchange this with Trauma Code. Both are kind of my number 1, number 2 of 2025 when it comes to action thriller dramas. Both rated 10 out of 10. Study Group is probably one of my favorite Korean dramas of all time. And I've been watching dramas for a very long time, 20 plus years. I did not anticipate how much I was going to like this. I watched the trailer and I was like, okay, I'll like this. I loved this drama. Hwan Min Hyung's character was a highlight for me. I loved how, on one hand, he was this lovable, adorable student who just wanted a study group. And then a second later, he flipped a switch and he punched a guy through a wall. I loved his duality in this so much. It was a lot of fun to watch. I loved rooting for the underdogs and watching them progress and improve and have Hwan Min-hyung's character kind of collect them like Pokemon, trying to make this study group. But I also loved watching the support characters being affected by Hwan Min-hyung and like his charm and his eagerness to make this study group and actually be a good student. I loved how the support characters were affected by that. I loved how the drama kept the manhwa feel with the fight scenes and the male lead's like super hero like fighting ability. One of my favorite scenes of all time of this Korean drama is him, Hwan Min-young, jumping out of a fourth-story window. It was brilliant and so well done. The comedy in this also does very well. If you liked Weak Hero, you need to watch this drama because it does have the classic tropes of bullies and things like that, but it's not as dark as Weak Hero at all. And I loved how balanced that was because you do have dark moments. You do have frightening bully characters in study group, but it's balanced well with the comedy and the warmth of the study group within this Korean drama. Cinematography is also fantastic, especially with the fight scenes. Trigger warning, of course, because it is still violent. You do have fight scenes, and again, some people might not like that. Study group, my number one, 10 out of 10. And those are 5 action thriller Korean dramas I loved in 2025. What are some of yours? Please let me know in the comments, and also let me know some that I might have missed, because I know I have missed some, and I need to watch them. Thank you for watching the video, and come back next week.